Representative Costa.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, thank you for coming in. I too agree with my colleague, Representative Hackett, that you guys shouldn't be here. It should be your counsel. There's no person that has more respect for the Pennsylvania State Police than I do. As a former law enforcement officer and chief of police, Colonel, I respectfully disagree with the dispatch being a minor part of this. You and the two gentlemen next to you, as well as I, started out standing on a highway on a rainy day or a snowy day with an accident, closing a complete lane, bringing people down the southbound lane of a northbound travel thing, and all you need is one rogue to get on the brim and ride up, and we're bringing tow trucks, we're bringing public safety personnel down to the accident scene, and we have no way of immediately contacting them. I too agree that I think the dispatch should be in the hands of the local 911 centers. I know you're saying, well, you know, it's a cost factor, it's this, it's the added burden, but I think you need that instant communications to avoid what could be a catastrophe in this, you know, and I'm hearing all kind of things. I've talked to people who have signed up with auto return, and I know if I have a tow shop somewhere and I'm getting ready to set up business, state police comes out, they make sure I got all my I's dotted, my T's, you know, crossed, and then I'm permitted to open. Now, it's my understanding that auto return, there's a 90-day grace period for me to set up my yard, for me to do the fence. You know, why is that? This Pennsylvania State Police wouldn't let me start until that was all done, until my T's were crossed, my I's were dotted. I don't understand that. And are the requirements that the PSP had, are they the same requirements that auto return is putting on these towers? Obviously not, if that's the case. And who's watching auto return in this? And who's going to watch them if this pilot program turns into a statewide thing?
Let me address a couple of things. First of all, the requirements, if not identical, and Captain Brinkley could address that, if not identical, they're very similar. In terms of that grace period, while there is a grace period, they can sign up, they cannot begin receiving dispatches for tows until they have complied with all of those rules. So, for example, the secure storage area, they can't take any tows until they have that in place. So they have to be in compliance before any of that occurs. The point that you made about the dispatch, your point's well taken. By my remarks, I don't mean that it's not important that dispatch is done properly and timely and everything else. What my point was that in terms of the time consumption, the amount of resource consumption from the Pennsylvania State Police, the dispatch is minor in terms of that resource consumption compared to all of the other steps in this process that were required either on the front end or the back end to deal with.
Well, you said that you're going to look at considerable cost savings to the PSP, correct? By taking this to a private entity. I mean, how many troopers do we have tied up doing this right now in the other areas outside of the pilot area? And what do you anticipate your cost savings to be? Because if the PSP is going to save money, then we have to look at our ability to use that money either in the general budget or something, or putting more troopers in the academy class. If you're going to put troopers back on the road, as you say, do you have any idea how much you anticipate on saving by going to a private firm to handle this?
The cost savings, sir, is more on the litigation side. As far as the troopers, it's time saving. And so it allows those troopers, typically the troopers that are doing these investigations are our vehicle fraud investigators, so they can be doing other types of vehicle fraud investigations, or they can be doing investigations of complaints against towers. And so it really comes down to how much of the other work do we have them do, and in some cases, how much of a criminal investigator's time do we take away from, you know, whether it's drug investigations, gun violence investigations, whatever the case might be, to allocate that they take a day and go handle this complaint that we've got from a motorist about one of the towers, or again from one tower against another tower, whatever the case.
Okay, so we're not really saving dollars; we're just saving
dollars.
Time.
We are saving, sir, with the litigation.
Right, that's what I mean.
We do incur significant costs. That varies from year to year, but we've had some years where we've paid out over $1 million. We've had other years where we've paid out far less than that. But we do incur costs almost every year because of litigation. We're successful in some of that litigation, but we incur significant legal costs in fighting it.
Okay, thank you, Colonel. It's always good to see you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.